Hello and welcome back to a tiny informational whiskey talk. It's been a million years since I made a real review and I've been really busy, but you've been really patient, so I thought it would be fair if I were to give you a little bit of information about what whiskies I'm gonna review next. And there's gonna be a couple of single malts and a fairly classic or ordinary single malt. It's Glenmorangie, the original 10-year-old. It's really a classic single malt, so that one is coming up. And we're gonna move on to a more, well, not a classic single malt. It's Mackmyra Bruks whiskey from Sweden. And Bruks whiskey is roughly translated usable whiskey. It's something that's meant to be used. It's something that's meant to be drunk. So we'll just have to see if it really is meant to be drunk. We're also gonna have a couple of blend reviews or high-end blend reviews. We got Black Bottle, 10-year-old, so a supposedly high-end blend, and we also got Ben Nevis Deluxe Blend 12-year-old, also supposed to be a fairly decent blend. I've had 1,001 things to do and it hasn't been a fairy tale, believe me, but I am gonna make these 4 reviews within the next 3 weeks, that's a promise. The keen observer out there may have noticed that I'm gonna start using these small bottles for some of the reviews. The great thing, of course, is that you can try a lot of different whiskies at a fraction of the price, and your liver is getting a rest. But a problem, or not a problem, but something to take notice of, something to keep in mind is bottle maturation. And what is bottle maturation? Well, it's just the spirit interacting with the air, and then I think it's called oxidation process starts to happen, and essentially the whiskey is maturing, or it's changing its flavor and it's changing its smell. A good example of that is Tullibardine 1993 Vintage Edition. I reviewed it a couple of months ago or something like that, and I wasn't too happy about it, really. There was this barf or sick note, but I mean it totally disappeared after a couple of months. And a really distinct coconut note was coming through instead, and it really has changed for the better. Another example is this Tomatin 12-year-old. I'm actually not going to review it. Well, actually, the first Tomatin 12-year-old that I ever bought was in a small bottle. It was great. It reminded me of Glenfarclas 12-year-old with this kind of delicate, subtle sherry, well-integrated sherry influence. But this one was just harsh. It was pure gasoline. The alcohol was stinging. Literally, people 3 seats from me were starting to, turn their heads and in disgust. It was really harsh to the point that I thought there was really something terribly wrong with it. But after 6 months or something like that, maybe almost a year, it has started to settle down very significantly. It's still not great, but it's gone from terrible to drinkable, and that's just another example of a whiskey actually improving over time. Another example is Bruichladdich Rocks. When I first opened the bottle, there was a very distinct red wine nose. It's gone a little more sour and the edge has been taken off the alcohol burn. It's becoming a bit more mellow. Is it changing for the better? Don't know, but it's changing. And it's just something to keep in mind. Of course, that begs the question: when do you actually taste the whiskey? When you first open it, where after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, a year? I mean, there's really no solution to that problem. It's just something that you have to keep in mind, and it's also something that I have to keep in mind when I review these small bottles, or when it's something that you have to keep in your mind when you see me review these small bottles. Blah blah blah. That's a lot of blah blah blah. I hope I'll see you back soon to a real whiskey review. Bye bye.